I mostly work with moving image, but I like to make whole exhibitions when I can and use a film as like a central point of a show that feeds other things into it. My name is Karanjit Panesar and I'm an artist based in Leeds. Furnace Fruit is an exhibition that features a 2-channel film as well as objects from the collection of Leeds Art Gallery and some oral histories that are held at Bradford Industrial Museum. The film is shot between an industrial foundry and a location with my car. It shows the process of a pomegranate being cast in cast iron. And then the story of the film follows a protagonist who kind of elaborates on the significance of that fruit to him. The foundry is a filmmaker's dream place. Everywhere you look, there's something cool and dramatic happening. The work comes out of an interest in the doubling of the foundry process, and specifically about cast iron foundries and automotive foundries that were worked by huge numbers of Punjabi immigrants in the 50s and 60s, including members of my own family who came and found themselves kind of working in these foundries, which is the reason that the protagonist is in the car and has this thought process as he's driving with somebody. He then pulls the car over and looks into the engine and is having all of these big thoughts around what the car means to him and what the engine means to him and the parts of it.
To show him England in the engine's black terrain. Part cannon, part exhaust.
I was talking to my great uncle who first told me about the time that he spent working in foundries in the early 60s, which then started a lot of thinking about all the different people that had come over to work in those foundries, and then my proximity to sculpture foundries as an artist. Both of those directions became something that was really interesting to me. So when the commission with the British Library and Leeds Art Gallery came up, it felt like a way for me to kind of explore that. The pomegranate in the show is made from cast iron, but it's cast iron that's been melted down from a car exhaust. I think it's a way for me to work with the history that I've inherited. The pomegranate comes from a childhood memory of my own, of visiting a relative's house in India, sitting underneath a pomegranate tree that was ripe with fruit. So the tree in the plates, in the etched and brass-plated objects, is the tree that I myself was sitting under as a child. So there's something going on with parts of it that are true and parts of it that are reconstructed. I included the Boyle family work in the exhibition as a way to think about the land. It has a certain place in, I guess, the cultural imagination and ideas of Britishness in the White Cliffs of Dover, and it's like a perfect replica, which introduces an idea of truth that I find really interesting. The Bernard Meadows casts are beautiful. In the exhibition, the bronze fruits are shown in a curated display along with some fragments of sand moulds, which would have been used to cast car parts. And I suppose I'm trying to get at something about a kind of hierarchy of value that's placed on different metals.
When I was in India, as far as I know, he was a foundry worker at JEC Declan. He worked there a while.
What about your father? What occupation did your father have?
When he first came over here, he worked in foundries.
Yeah, I selected the oral histories that are held at Bradford Industrial Museum because they both speak of their father's work in foundries. The recordings are played over the top of footage that I captured at the slag heaps outside of Barrow in Furness in Cumbria, which was the site of this huge Victorian ironworks, which was producing rail track that was shipped to various places around the British Empire. So I was trying to get at an overlap of imperialism and metalworking. There's an object on the floor which is a piece of slag that I collected, and it's the same object that one of my works is made from. And that's made by press moulding that piece of slag into clay and then filling that with plaster. I think what I didn't want to do with this subject matter is to just valorize stories of immigrant labour without a wider picture, because I think what that really does is to reinforce the idea that immigrants are valuable only in relation to what they contribute economically. But that's a narrative that I don't agree with, so I hope that the work I've made will complicate it in some way. The main thing I'd like people to take away from this show is the smell of the pomegranate on their hands, the smell of the metal.